Alessandro Boscolo. Ciao.
Ciao, Brad. How are you, my friend?
Well, we were just talking. I'm so excited because I was just saying about these podcasts. I've talked to coaches, business leaders, chair people, sports people. I haven't really spoken to my friends. I mean, these people are friends and I'm friendly with them, but not like friends that go back and...
Yeah, we were friends before.
Right, so we have to share like some honest transparency. You and I have known each other for 40 plus years, right?
Yes.
So not only are you my best friend, you were the best man at my wedding. You're the best brother I didn't have. The friendship started, we'll come on to football, I promise. The friendship started on a beach outside your parents' restaurant when we started playing football together.
Yeah, there was where it was where we met for the first time.
Yeah.
But we started being friends during a run around Edgware.
Oh, you come to stay in London, right?
When I was just fighting with your brother, and you were the only person because Zoe and Ashley were too old for me, but we were more or less the same age, and you was the only anchor for me the anchor for me to save the rest of my accommodation in your parents' house, and so we started to be linked a lot during a run.
So that was 1982, nearly 40 years.
82, yes, 82.
Right. So this is so cool because the history between us, I don't know what's going to come up today. And on these podcasts, I've always been very professional. So I'm sensing we could go down an avenue where we might go down some rabbit holes.
We cannot simulate that we don't know what it's done.
Right? So, look, part of these podcasts have really been about learnings. And so my first question to everybody, and I'm going to throw it to you because you live in Ibiza, you are a senior manager and leader of luxury brand restaurants. You have a passion, you're a sommelier as well, right? So you really understand wine linked to luxury.
Yeah.
Your industry has been ravaged by this COVID. You live on a small island which generates 95% of its income. What has the last year been like?
Okay, I remember it was the 13th of March of last year, and I was just got home from the office. And in that moment, my life was at the top during my life. It was the best moment of my life. I was happy with my job. I was living in one of the most international islands of the world. I was working for maybe the best, not maybe, for sure the best cabaret concept, luxury cabaret concept in the world. And I was planning the following 2 years. For me, the 2020 and 2021 would have been the consecration of my positioning in luxury industry, in my business, in my career. And you know what happened? I remember I got a call with telling me that we wouldn't have gone to the office the day after. And in that moment, it was just a click. It's just in 1 second, I had my life delayed. Just with a click. And so I didn't really understood it. I needed a few days to elaborate this concept that my life was changing. Okay, my future was changing. Maybe not my life, but my future for sure.
Right.
But it had been very hard because when you work as I do in such, we can say, complicated fields where you need a lot of expertise and you need to be specialized and fond in what you are doing. You are also available to fail. I mean, failing is a part of success.
Of course.
It's not something on the other side. It's part of the success. All your failings, but normally you are supposed to fail by your own.
Right, not because of something else.
Not because something happened so big that there is nothing you can do. We are used to solve problems every day. Every day, life and work give you problems, and our job is to solve them.
Right.
But it never happened to me to feel so useless. I mean, there was
no control. There's no control.
There was nothing I could do to solve a problem, and that was a situation facing myself that was a new situation. I wasn't because normally I always have maybe it's not a big solution, but something I can do during hard moments. But there was nothing I could do. So what the COVID teach me? Basically, it teach me that I was a very, very happy person.
I like that.
I was living the best life a man can live.
Nice.
Because of my age, because of my positioning, because of my setting, because of my friendships, because of my relations, because of my work, because of my job, because of everything. I was the most happy person on the face of the world. But I do know that these times, maybe under other forms, but they can come back anyway. What you don't have to do is just to surrender. So I know it's sometimes it's too easy to say, but from struggles you need to find a motivation to convert those bad feelings, those bad impulses, those bad vibration to something to rebuild something. So I just knew that everything was gone and I had to start again. It's very easy. It's easy. It's very sad. It's very strange. But it's that I couldn't tell me lies. I mean, my life was gone. I had to rebuild something. So I found the time to do things I never thought to do, or I always put apart, and a lot of work on my self balance. This for sure, because I live taking my life from other people's minds. Okay, I live on other people's minds. When I generate a smile, I can be I can be fed of it. I live on that, and so staying alone, locked down. I mean, I couldn't see anybody. I'm used to see more than 1,000 people every night. I was used to shake hands, give hugs, hitting. I remember the names, some I remember to remember, and I passed from that to stay alone at home because I don't have a dog, I don't have a cat, I don't have a wife, I don't have a son. So I was living alone, and that for me was something that I had to manage in my mentally. I had to mentally manage because the being alone like I had been never happened to me. But well, it's gone. Now we have another horizon in front, no? So my industry, thanks God, I'm sure it will be the first one to re-raise, because even after a pandemic like that, uh, there are a lot of rich people in the world. So
Right, so people will go back to eating and want luxury stuff, right? But I'm interested in something you said there because I'm wondering, right, that mental strength that you had to show when you realize actually I'm going to be here on my own, work, going to have to rebuild. How much of your historical challenges that you have resolved helped you? Because not everybody has that mental strength. But
no,
you've gone. I mean, I know because we've been friends for so long. But you've had challenges. You've lived in different countries, survived your own moments. How much did that help you focus your mind so that you didn't just go mad?
well, this is what we were talking about. Um, life is a training. It's a direct training. Every day, even the most useless we can think to have spent, always teach us something. And we are the results of all our experiences. I can tell you, if this would have happened 20 years ago, I would be in worse troubles.
Right. Yeah.
Even if I would have had 20 more years in front of me, I could lose a couple of years. Now, at the age of 38, for me it's harder to think that I lost 2 years. But I am stronger now. I can afford it. I show to my relations how strong I am, and people are confident about me. They are not worried about will it comes out from this. For sure it will. Let's say that all the troubles and all the experiences that you perfectly know of my life train me to face this kind of situations.
And what I love about that, particularly, because it made me smile at the beginning, was you had the most luxurious gym equipment to do your exercises that I've ever seen. Because I was using kettlebells and barbell, and you were using magnums of champagne for your weight, right?
Yes, actually,
Right.
I didn't have a weight, so I had to use 3 liters of non-Perignon rosé.
And doing your weight. I mean, it was just the most luxurious gym equipment I'd ever seen. Hey, you live on a beautiful island that's like 25 kilometers north to south and east to west. Was it a little bit restrictive in those? I mean, because it's not a big island, right? You can drive around it in an hour and a half.
Yeah, or less. The point is that this helped us because I'm not used to go out of the island during a year normally. I go out. I had when I was happy. I had three months off every year, so I was going out for a couple of months from the island, and you really need to you really feel to need it because I always say that we are living like golden fishes. It's like in a bowl, no? So after 9 months spent on a 40 kilometers per 20 tiny island, you feel a little bit anguish, no? Mm-hmm. And so about that, I was coming already from my vacations. I had my a month and a half on the mountain skiing with my friends and everything. So I just entered for the season. So my boat was already living on this island and being restricted by my job. So that was not actually really a problem. The problem was the sadness because sometimes it still happens to me when I go to throw the rubbish after 10 o'clock over the road, and you don't know how sad can be in a night of mid-May at 10 o'clock going out. I live in the center of Ibiza, and there is no noise, no cars, complete silence. It never happened during the 24 hours. Never. You go out at any time and you find people on the street. And it was just me and my bag of rubbish. And that's really is like you are shot in another planet, something completely unreal. But okay, it's still like
and so I'm wondering. So I want to change it from that and think more a little bit about how we cope. So something I've found a little strange, but have enjoyed, is how I've been able to watch so much more football. I'm making a little segue into football, right? I thought it was quite neat, actually. We've been talking 20 minutes. We need to talk about football. How has sport helped you, whether you're involved in it or watching it? Because you're passionate, like me, on both football, Formula One. You've got other passions, but how has sport helped?
Well, for sure, as I told you, we all had more time to do things we didn't do before. But in this case, I must tell you, I had a big problem because I was really focused on my career, and so all the time I couldn't spend for my job, doing my job. I mean, watching one more football match or reading one more book or writing something actually didn't help me a lot because I was too much in the movie of my career. So that was one of the hardest part. What I had the opportunity to found were new friends, which were already friends, but I realized to have a lot of people, because I know a lot of people and a lot of people know me. But I realized to have very good friends very close. And this is something that I must thank this period. It's never too late to find new friends, and especially for me, as I told you a lot of times, I am almost an actor because okay, I'm a manager, but I am an operative, so I live on the floor, and I meet a lot of people every night, and so. Relationships for me, I'm always it's like a cross, no? I am between my job and between my personal life, and so there are a lot. It happens that I'm actually acting with people, but not because I'm false or I'm fake. It's that I can't tell the truth to everybody. So
actually, people aren't interested. They come with you to have a good time. What they don't hear is just that story.
Of course. So sometimes you don't. In my life, it was hard to recognize which were really deep friendships. Also because maybe I was convinced that they were fond of something that it was good for them to have me as a friend, you know, free drinks, free entrances, and something like that. But then no, you realize that there are a lot of good people around us. Even if I don't think you remember when we were saying that we will be better after that. Bullshit.
Right.
We didn't. We didn't. I think most of the people are worse after this period. But what we could do is select the people we have around, and so in this it has been something useful for sure.
I like that perspective, because actually what it makes me think about and reflect for myself is, who have I kept in contact with? Because it's a choice that you make, and actually can be surprising who shows up in any room and suddenly becomes, a friend. I'm wondering, from your point of view, especially as someone who is so sociable, what was it like to not just be physically around people? So I understand you're connecting with people, you will have conversations, you might even see people, but physically being surrounded by people no more. Was that just did you just have to adapt to it, or was it painful? I mean, what's that like?
Okay, let's say that from my point of view of my job, the physical contact is key. Having just raised a lot of cameras towards you, so it's entering in his comfort zone, no, physically. So I use a lot this way of operating, also because Leo, well, my business was about a different way of behaving with the customers. We normally think that when we talk about rich people, we think that they don't mind about spending money, or they are just a little bit full, no? But I always thought that if there is a stupid between a billionaire and a waiter, maybe it's the waiter. if he's a billionaire, it would be a billionaire for somehow.
Right.
So if I am attending you and serving you wine, maybe if there is someone which is not at that level, maybe it's me. So I always used to, and yes, I always used to try to put these filters out, to put myself at the same level. And putting myself at the same level was passing also through a hug, pat on the shoulder, something that they are not used to. Because normally when billionaire enter in the restaurant, you have the red carpet and you have obsequious people telling you, "Oh, welcome, Mr. No, you come to me and I just hug you and I smile you and I talk to you and what was your day and whatever, and then maybe take his arm like this, asking him during the walk on to the table, asking him who is there. Does your wife know you are with her, or who are your friends? Who are them? What's going on tonight?" And in these 2 minutes we have in the walk, I have all the inputs I need to give service to him properly, okay? Because at the end, it's not true that rich people don't matter about spending money. They do.
Right.
they do.
They want value in their
money. Exactly. Because I mean, they are used to work to earn money, so they have it. The fact that they can afford anything doesn't mean that they want to do it. So what you have to do is to convince them to spend their money.
Basically, give you their wallet.
Exactly. You have to convince them, giving you an option, and this pass through the emotional side of the selling. You need to put them in the position to say, you know what, I'm gonna do tonight here, because there are two kinds of attitudes of rich people in luxury places. No, one is the show off, but that is very easy. I have the money to buy 20 bottles of Dom Perignon. I order 20 bottles of Dom Perignon. Everybody's watching at me. Easy. I buy for the attention. But then there are many who are a little bit much more fine and elegant, and they are looking for the attention of their guests,
Right.
not other people.
Yeah.
So when you go to offer them something that will make that night special for him and his guest, that is the key to get into the selling.
So you're like a restaurateur psychologist. You basically read people
Yes.
the moment they climb out of their car and walk towards the door.
Yes, I can understand passing by your table. I can understand if it's the moment to talk to you or not.
Where have you learned that?
Well, as you know, I have always been very sensitive, especially in relationships with people. I remember that one of my fears when I was a little boy at the primary schools was not to be accepted.
Okay.
Because I was coming from different family with different possibilities, and what I was trying to do every day was trying to people like me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was I was feeling pity for something. I don't know why. But I needed this attitude from the people around me. Not to feel safe, but because I knew that like that they would have liked my attention and my person. So this comes from very and then I had the opportunity to work in some of the most important places around Europe. So every night, as I told you before, every day is a training. So every table was a training for me. You never know with whom you are talking about. So you have to start analyzing. For example, I analyze people. If I don't know them, I don't know the reservation. I can understand which kind of wine I'm gonna drink just passing through my door, because I can see which shoes you're wearing, the bag of your girlfriend, with how they are dressed, how they are the dresses of your guests, the way you're walking. If you are astonished, if you are surprised, if you are, I mean, there are so many signs every day, every man can give to you that, because I see that it must be that night for him. He's in this mood, and this is the product I have to give him. But this is not to be happy myself. This is also for him, huh? I mean,
but you've always
so
we've talked for years about this. You genuinely want people to have the best experience of their life on the evening they come to you.
yes, because there is one rule in restaurants, hotel industry. Let's feel your guest as you would like to feel. It's easy. There are a few very basic rules. It's like to have a clean table. There is nothing you don't need on the table. This is the rule. So if you have these basic rules, then you can give the right service. The problem is, if you had that kind of experiences as well,
right?
Because I can say, okay, in a place like that, I would like to do this. So I sell this experience to someone else. But if your experiences are not fond also on this kind of moments, you don't you would feel out of the water, no? You wouldn't feel. So if you don't know what it would be, so you cannot give anything to anybody. So this is the point.
It makes me smile, especially when you say about being able to kind of, almost spot by what someone's wearing that day, how to interact with them. Because you just reminded me. I remember when I came to visit you at Leo's a few years ago, and you sent me a text message the day before requesting really politely that I wore a shirt. And not to wear trainers or
shorts. Because I know you very well, and I didn't want someone to rebound you at the entrance,
But it's
so
true.
No shorts, no open shoes, put a shirt.
And I remember saying I bought a shirt specially to come to the It was the only shirt I had. But when we came to that evening, what was interesting about what you were saying before, because I don't sit in that billionaires row at all, or even the millionaires row, but there's something quite seductive about being in that environment. Because even at the level I'm at going in there, I still found myself being influenced to, let's have another whiskey. Oh, we've got this whiskey. Would you like to try that? Actually, I don't care if it's a $50 whiskey glass, because tonight I'm going to have that whiskey. And I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it's seductive.
This is the point. And you know what? When this happens, normally, when the last restaurant where I worked, we had 600 packs every night. So for sure, there are. It's not 600 billionaires, but 600 persons who can afford it. Okay. So when you enter when you are so strong as a customer and you're used, as I was telling you, to get into a restaurant and giving obsequies, when you step in and you find that the cool person is not you but your server, that makes because you have a model attending you, speaking in 3 languages with your guests, knowing about wines and food, suggesting you the best way to spend the night, explaining you what's going on and how, and just asking you please to follow her during this experience. So the cool people is not you there, is who is serving you. And this is a very delicate point, because it is true that I have a wow effect when you get in, and I have a wow effect when I talk to you. But then they let you talk to them equally to maintain that they are standing there. So behind you need to have a background. You must be able to talk about cinema, movies, museums, cities of the world, books, reading. So they accept to be treated at the same level, but then they check you every time.
Right.
If you maintain this level, then they are yours.
Right.
They don't even want to see the menu. They don't need to see how much that wine does it cost. They don't mention it. How many of my personal customers, they call me and they say, do what you want, and we are talking about thousands of euros per person in tables of 15 or 20. We're talking a lot of money, but they don't mind. About wine pairings, no? For example, in this kind of situations, I never matched a wine with the food. I match wine with persons, wine and people.
Right.
Because on the table of 20, actually, there will be one eating caviar, one eating oysters, one eating suckling pig, one eating veal. So where is the wine pairing? There is no wine pairing. So you have to match that situation, that group of people, that persons to the proper wine. The best wine is always among the wines that the customer can understand and pay, the most expensive of our wine list. This is the perfect pairing because it's good for them and it's good for us. It's good for them because it's important. They can afford it, but they can understand it. To understand, I mean, not only that if they know about wines or not, but also if they can understand that the choice was good. And then when you have these 2 points, then just go for the most expensive of your wine list. That's it.
But you know, what you're saying actually rings true for me about business as well. So not just in your trade, because what I'm hearing is you create instant trust with people when they walk in. And you do that by being credible, by being reliable, by being intimate, and by focusing all of your motivation on their experience, not yours.
Yes, we do it for you.
Yeah. No,
we actually spend that money because it's good for you, not for me. I mean, I drink Dom Perignon Crystal every night anyway, without or with you. Okay, because I have 40 tables drinking Dom Perignon and Crystal, so I can have a glass anywhere else. I'm telling you to do this choice because of you. And you know what? We never. I don't want to use a. Can we use?
We can use a word.
But I don't want to fuck you, because if I fuck you once. But
Right.
if we make love, we can make love for the rest of our life.
You're so Italian. That's an Italian analogy.
So you don't have to feel abused.
No.
You have to go home, watch to the bill and say, "Fuck, look at that, Alessandro. Huh? He pushed tonight, huh?"
Yeah.
But you know what? It was the best night of my life. I don't mind because I know the limits.
Listen, I know from my night with you at Leo's, and we had some fun with the bill that night. But it was simply one of the best evenings my family had ever had. And you even got the girls up on stage in the middle of the cabaret, and they were dancing on stage, and they remember it still. So
but you see, it's details. It's details.
Yeah.
What do you need? I mean, it doesn't cost anything. I didn't put it on the bill. No, it was just something I had to do to make someone else's life that night more special, because it's all about that. The definition of luxury is not paying more expensive something you can have anywhere else.
No, it's that experience of that.
Luxury. The definition of luxury is feeling special.
Right.
When you feel special for something that someone gave to you or the way he attended to you, that is luxury, and it is not all about money. Of course, with a higher budget, you can have it easier, but it's not all about that. There is a job behind. There is a background of choices, of work, of study on you. Because when you make a reservation, I go through your name. I Google your name, and then you get in and start analyzing it. And then I go through your past experiences at Leo, what you liked and what you did not. Come here and do what you want. I want to spend the best night of my life now, here, tonight.
But they have to do that with you in the. Like, I've known you 40 years, so when I come to one of your restaurants, of which I've been to all of the ones you've worked in, apart from the one in London at the Piccadilly, all of the rest, I know you. So I will say to you, look, you know me, sort out the evening, and you just take care of it. And I know it's all great, but you're doing that with people who you've never met.
Yes.
That's a real skill, right? I mean, that's a.
Yeah.
I mean, we were joking before because, you know, when we were teenagers, we were very naughty when we used to hang out together. And I've got great memories of us walking around beach promenades as teenagers, chatting up girls and going to clubs and getting very drunk. But an overwhelming memory of that time is people trust you. They just do.
Yeah.
And I know you, and I'm thinking, what? Why? How does that happen? But there's something about the kind of the credibility and the intimacy that you create.
Because sometimes this is also a point now in my job, and then I want to talk about something else. It's like. For example, I go to one of my waiters and ask him or her, okay, what's your plan on that table? What are you gonna do there?
Right.
You know what is that? I still don't understand if it's a birthday or ask them. Ask them. It's easy. Ask. You are not supposed to know what you cannot know.
Mm-hmm.
I just ask you, and this make you trust of me, because I'm not pushing every time I see you.
And
you know,
this is this credibility because you have the expertise, reliability because you're consistent in your behavior, and you have this intimacy that clearly you're sharing with your team as well to try and adopt to build that rapport with people.
Yeah, but if you want to be intimate with someone, just try to be. You cannot expect that it's him to invite you in his intimacy. Right. Just knock at his door.
Yeah.
Oh, can you tell me something more about that?
Right. Because the more you know, the more you can give to
Yes. Look interested in his life. Not only about what he will drink or eat. It will come later. Tell me about you. And it's like you're part of his life, no?
And does that feel, I know you wanted to talk about something else, so last question on this. Does it feel in the moment, because these people come back, are you building a relationship that exists beyond the evening? So when I'm working with my clients, I work with some of them for 15 years already, right? So the relationship is long. They've seen me, I see them grow up, get married, have kids, whatever it might be, right? Is this like just a passing moments of intimacy, or are these people coming back and it's, ciao, Alessandro, hey, what are you going to do for us tonight?
I have a few of my customers that became friends, but most of them, I am part of the furniture. We make 60,000 bucks in a summer. I cannot be part of the family of each one of them.
No, for sure.
So for some of them, I'm just part of the experience. But for sure, then even with the ones we don't have a very strong relation, during some time when I see something that I like, I send them a picture or the wishes for Christmas or for Easter or something like that. This for sure is keep a little bit warm the contacts, but I mean there is nothing bad to be used by someone for their pleasure. It's my job.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But at the same time, you know, you used the word before. You don't want to screw someone over because you do it once and they don't come back. Actually, what you want to do is create the experience and make them want to come back because that's good for them and it's good for you.
Yes, even if I know that most of them they would never come back. Yeah. Because a great percentage of the customers of every night Actually, they save that money to spend one night at Leo once in their life.
Knowing the restaurant prices, I understand why they do that, right? Because
and that table, who I know I will never see again, sometimes is a table where I have an extra cariño, an extra hug.
Right. So you actually almost make more efforts. So
Yes.
Even more special evening.
Yeah, because I understand. I see you put your best. You have your. You put your best dresses together, but they don't match very much because maybe it was the best jacket with the best trouser, but they don't match together. Okay, and then I see how you look around, how everything is so big for you. So I understand it's an important night for you.
Yeah.
And then I see by the choice of you share starters, then you go for the. I understand it. So you know what? After the dinner, why don't you stay here a little bit more? And I give you that table for you to stay half an hour until the other customer arrives, and I invite you to a nice drink, a nice gin tonic or whatever. Would you like to stay half an hour more with me later? And for me, it's nothing. For me, it's nothing. Offering two drinks is nothing. But I make that night special for them.
Right. Yeah. I hear you. So come on, you said you wanted to talk about something else. Normally, I invite the questions, but because I love you so much, I want you to. What is on your mind?
No, I was thinking before when we touched a little bit the definition about luxury, no? And I told you that there is a lot of job behind. It's not like putting oyster foie gras and caviar and overpricing them. This is not working luxury. And I'll explain you later, also right now, how you can make normal people, feeling special. So give the essence of luxury also to normal people like we are. Because I live among rich people, but I'm not rich.
Yeah. So I share your pain.
Sometimes when I go out in a restaurant, I found a bottle of wine. 70 euros, well, it's okay. It's not that expensive. And I said, wait. It's 70 euros for a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's an expensive bottle of wine. For me, it's not expensive because I know what I'm selling, but this is another thing. So to maybe to make you understand a little bit more what can be also the work you have to do behind. I give you I tell you a tale about something happened to me 3 years ago. When I got in Leo back and I started to take care about the wine selections. Okay, in Leo, the first thing I decided to change were the wines by the glass. So the wines by the glass at Leo were classic in Spain, no? Rioja in red, Albarino in white, and Rosé Provence in rosé. So I decided to put it upside down, and I was having a meeting with one of the most important wine distributors of Spain. He was coming personally to talk with us. So we went through all the references in the wine list, saying, okay, yes, this no, this yes, this no. We are talking about tens of thousands of bottles in the summer. Okay, this yes, this no, and then we arrived to the reference, the red wine by the glass. So this is okay, no? You had almost 2,000 bottles last year. It's okay, we confirm it. I said, no, we don't confirm it. I'm gonna change it. We went, why? So this wine, you have a 50% discount to put it by the glass, and you and Arsac are the only one restaurant in Spain having this wine. I mean, we make this one for you, and we sell it to you at 50% discount to have it by the glass. And it was an amazing talk. And I said, so he asked me, so what are you changing? What are you putting instead of us? No, I put a Pinot Nero from Südtirol, south of Austria, between Austria and Italy. He said, what? And they do wine there? Yes, they make wine there. Okay. He said, and okay, but are you changing also the white? Yes, I had an Albarino. I turned to something else. What are you putting on the list? So I will have a Rebula from Slovenia. And the rosé? The rosé will be a rosé from Corse Island. So he said, listen, I don't. I mean, I respect your decision, but I don't agree with that. I said to him, explain me why. What's wrong with my decision? Because I want to understand also the feedback. He said, listen, but if I come to Ibiza, I go in Formentera, having a nice lunch in a chiringuito, and then I want the red prawns from Ibiza. I want the lava I want to have a nice wine from the region, or if he's not from the region, I want a Spanish wine. I'm in Spain. No. Okay, I said, it's a good point. So, now tell me one thing. Which is the best achievement about your expectation when you go to a sea restaurant in Formentera? Have nice wine, being served in a reasonable time, food, yes, this, the sun, landscape, okay, fantastic. So, when you come to my place, if I achieved your expectation, I failed because I cannot stop to your expectation. I have to surprise you. If I sell you a glass of red wine at 18 euros, of course it's a good one. It can't be bad. And if it's a Rioja, of course it's the best Rioja you ever had, but you still had a Rioja.
Right.
I need to give you something special to feel special and to make reasonable my pricing. Because if you see that behind my offer there is a work done coming through years of experience and miles of flights, of drove, of whatever, and going out to experience something new, to find new things. I work 9 months, 7 months a year, discovering things to propose. This is the point.
And
there is a lot.
I follow your images, and sometimes you can spend a week, can't you, just walking down vineyards, trying grapes and drinking wine.
Yeah.
Sounds like a terrible life, Alessandro.
And you know why I do it? It's because you will never understand a wine until you know the person who makes it. Because I have never tried a wine who doesn't seems to the person who made it.
Right. That's
so. For example, I had a nice wine I sent him down last year. Was a Spagna Deluxe. Was a wine from Catalonia, and I spent the whole night, the whole summer, selling that wine to my friends and enjoying that wine with them, thinking to when I will ever met the winemaker, and I wanted to see the plot. I need to fly there to see where that wine was growing. Take the land in my hands, smelling it, talking with him, trying different vintages, passing by the vineyards, walking in the vineyards, smelling, breathing.
So you can you completely immerse yourself in the world, basically.
It is. Wine is a word. Thanks God, I think it is still one of the most honest part of our work, because the world of wines is strictly connected to the land and to the persons.
Right.
These two links make this word genuine, true,
Authentic. I hear you.
authentic.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because the winemaker is also can be a chemical, but we are talking about. I mean, I select wines that they make 2,000 bottles, 4,000 bottles, 3,000 bottles. We are not talking about millions, no? So when you know them, they are countrymen.
Right.
It's like talking with my parents, and what you can understand. Also, to whom it is wine and which is his price. I can price that wine after because
It's almost that you need to feel that connection to the wine before you would sell it.
I can. Well, of course, it's like in everything else. You know a lot of people, but with just a few of them, you're friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I read a wine list, even without even try a wine, I know his taste. I know that vintage, I know that area, I know that vineyard, so I know what expecting about that one. I have it here, I know it. But then when there is something that makes you curious and you go through this point, no, and you pass this bridge and you start to be involved in that, then for sure you close. I have, I have wines following me since the 90s in my wine list. I have wines. I have, for example, in all my wine list, I have the favorite Brunello of my mother, the favorite Barolo of my father. I have at least 10 wines coming from my past girlfriends. For I mean, wines I had or I discovered with some of with her there. This is the wine when we were traveling through there and we found it in that restaurant. And I have so this amount of wine is my background, is my life, is part of me. That makes that wine list different from any other because there is part of me inside there.
Right, and it's funny because a couple of years ago I was arranging a party, and I remember sending you the list of wines that I was being offered.
Yeah.
And I asked you to. I sent you the menu for the party, what we were going to have, and I invited you to share with me a couple of whites and a couple of reds. And I remember going to the caterers for a meal test and a wine test, and they were giving us these wines. And I said to the guy who was serving us, I said, "Do you have this wine?" And I read the wine. It was a Pape de Neuf that you had recommended. And he just stood at the table and laughed. And I looked at him, I said, "Why are you laughing?" He goes, "I may as well clip all these other wines away." Because once you have that wine, that's it.
Yeah, and I chose from a list from I mean, just reading, no? I didn't know that wine. I never tried it before. I tried it for the first time at your party, at the wedding. But I knew what it was.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was a vineyards of Burgundy. So I remember, I know I like those wines coming from that plot in Burgundy. So that's it.
I love that. Listen, we could talk for about 6 days. I want to bring this round to a close because I love the insight. I think what I get from you is your knowledge is so deep because it goes back so far. This isn't something you learn by studying for 3 weeks before you take a job. This is decades of exposure to and a learning of a particular thing that we have?
Brett, when I was, and with this, I think we can close your podcast, because otherwise it's a mini series.
Yeah, we'll be here tomorrow.
I give you another example. I was I had been very lucky, because I always knew what I was wanting to do in my life. Since when I was a young man, young boy, my mother always asked me, where are we gonna go out tonight? When we were out, we were in Paris, New York, or London. She was giving me the Michelin guidance, asking me, choose the restaurant, no? And so the first time we went to Paris, in those times was Chez Maxime was the best restaurant of Paris, one of the most famous of the world. And I asked her, bring me to Chez Maxime. I was 15 years old. And I remember we were sitting on a round table. I had a double portion of foie gras, and my father ordered 2 bottles of Chateau d'Yquem Sauternes to match the foie gras, and then he had a caramel orange. I remember there was a table just next to us. There was an old lady, a very elegant, smart, fascinating old lady with white hair recovered on the top here, with some nice jewelry and a beautiful evening dress. I mean, an amazing figure. Having dinner with a very young guy wearing tuxedo. And they were drinking champagne, and in that moment I saw that scene. I said, I mean, this is my world. This is what I want.
I'm home.
Yes. I'm home. This is what I want. I was so fascinated by this scene. And I remember I spent the whole night watching the movements of the waiters, how they were interacting between themselves, and what they were doing, watching what they were doing on during the service. I was like kidnapped by that scene. Right. And this is one of the time I remember I really decided that this would be my job. So it comes from a long time.
I love that. That's such a good story. Because actually part of your background is you grew up in restaurants. Your parents were restaurateurs, successful restaurateurs. I mean, people would travel 400 kilometers for one night to eat at your mother's restaurant, right? And we always felt blessed because we would spend the summers with you guys, and we would eat every night in your restaurant. With your father would come and join us.
And for free.
It was perfect. I mean, if you remember, right, because we were all vegetarian, and your mum would create. I never knew you could fry in beer batter. I remember one night she made some aubergines in beer batter. I can still remember 30 years later, one of the most tasty meals I think maybe part of it is also, you talk about your experiences, and I get it, but maybe it's also a little bit in your DNA to observe those things, to spot how a waiter is moving and talking and observing. You know, it's in your DNA.
It's an imprinting more than DNA. Okay. It's an imprinting. But maybe you are right. Maybe it's DNA, because I remember my grandmother once went to my mom when I was living with my grandmother, telling me that maybe there was something wrong in that child. So my mother would ask her why? What happened? Yeah. I don't know. He wants to set the table. What's wrong with him? Mom, he sees every time he watches people, guys, cleaning and setting table is normal for him. So for me, it was normality. Yes, it's true.
But it's also because you can see it. And now as an adult and as an expert, you see it. I remember once we went into you'd come to stay with me in the UK, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago now. And we went to a pub for lunch. And you never forget, because I do it now when I go into places. You walked up to the fruit machine and you took your finger and you wiped it across the top of the fruit machine and you saw the dust and you said to me, "We're not eating here." And I said, "Why not?" Because we're not eating here, because if they can't clean the bits you can't see, who knows what's going on in the kitchen. Such a cool, and we walked out. We went and found somewhere else to eat. It's such, but for me, this is a great moment. One, I can't reach the top of those fruit machines, and you can. But for me, it's a perfect example of where your knowledge gives insight. Because I'd never have thought of that, right? You literally went right, and you looked at the dust, and you went, "No, I'm not eating it."
This is a definition of luxury. That's it.
Yeah, wiping the dust off the fruit machine.
I mean, there is no. It's black or white. There are no grays.
Look, all I wish for is that very soon you and I will be able to drink some wine together.
Yeah.
Because that would be really lovely. Because it's been 2 years now since we were together. We were together in April 2019. So it's 2 years since we've been in the same place. And this has just been an absolute joy.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but this is what we could do.
This is
Come ci vogliamo fare?
right. Don't work with children, don't work with animals, and never bring your best friend on your podcast. That's the rule, right?
Okay, now you know it. Now you have the rule. Okay.
But look, give Alba and Silvana a big hug from me, and whatever's left over, have for yourself.
Thank you. The same for Matt and Harry and all your beloved family, Brad. We talk very soon, okay? I love you.
I love you too. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
If they can't clean the bits you can't see, who knows what's going on in the kitchen?